An alfalfa weevil management program illustrates many of the principles of insect pest management. Alfalfa weevils can overwinter as an adult or an egg. However, 90% of the weevil eggs are deposited in new or dead alfalfa plant stems in the spring by mid-May. The larvae hatch and move to the tips of the plants, feeding on leaves, which decreases quality and yields. This is when most plant damage occurs. In about 3 weeks, larvae reach maturity. The larvae pupate in small cocoons near ground level attached to plant debris or stems. Once the larvae pupate, no further damage occurs for the year, as very little weevil activity occurs during the summer and fall months. Alfalfa can be harvested several times from the same plant through the growing season. Weevil damage is almost completely limited to the first cutting, or mid-June. This is because the next brood of emerging weevils spend summer in protected sites and in and around alfalfa fields. Remember, the second step in a pest management program is to monitor. Weevil feeding before May is negligible. A sign to begin monitoring for weevils is when noticeable feeding injury to the plant tips is discovered. Resample fields at weekly intervals during the month of May. This is crucial if certain fields are prone to weevil damage, or if field conditions are approaching the treatment threshold or the economic threshold. To determine if the economic threshold for control measures has been met, consider these factors: the number of pests in a field, the development of the plants, the value of the crop, and the cost of control application. Let's consider our alfalfa weevil example. To determine the number of pests in a field, Penn State Extension recommends using a 30-stem sample to reliably indicate the insect population in your alfalfa crop. Crop losses are predicted based on the amount of foliage one larvae per sample of 30 stems can destroy. Plant height during monitoring is important. Smaller infested plants will suffer greater losses than larger plants with an equal number of weevils. So consider the size of the plants. The higher the value of the crop, the fewer the number of weevils that can be tolerated. The higher it costs to control pest damage, the more damage can be tolerated. There are some other points to consider before insecticide application. The first is biological controls. Early spray applications, those before mid-May, are generally hazardous to beneficial parasites that feed on the weevils, like the parasitoid wasp you see here. Early spray applications might eliminate any biological controls that might have been in place, so only spray when necessary. When chemical control is needed, use short residual insecticides to reduce the loss of beneficial parasites. Another thing to consider is timing. Before harvesting the first crop, previous sampling records can be very helpful in deciding to spray. The records will indicate whether weevil populations are increasing or decreasing. A decreasing population indicates weevil season is over and spraying would be a waste of time and money. After harvest, check the stubble of all fields 4 to 6 days after mowing. If larval populations are high, say 2 or more larvae per crown, that's any part of the plant above ground, then regrowth of the second crop may be drastically delayed. But if cocoons are present and larval numbers are low, then the weevil season is practically over and so is further damage. There's no need to spray.